All right, so the problem I'm having is when I came home from my trip, nothing has changed. Everything was in the same exact spot. No vents are being blocked. And I noticed my top shelf, it is passable cold. I'm talking passable so that it doesn't perish and go bad, but peanut butter is not chilling over. It's almost like it's cool to the touch, but not cold. Glass obviously is a little colder, but plastics are not very cold at all. So the top is definitely warmer, but passable. So I moved all my milk and everything down here to the bottom, which makes it a little bit chillier in this region. The crisper and stuff like that still is doing an okay job. The cheese isn't going bad, but it definitely doesn't have the sharpness it should. With this said, let's figure out how to fix this. Number one, I tried to dial my dials. That didn't work either. Again, no vents are blocked or anything like that. I just literally came home from a pretty long, extensive vacation, and it started doing this. Did notice I need to pull out my freezer food, but I did notice there's a lot of ice being built up on the back, and my blueberries are not freezing over as they should. They're actually starting to melt a little bit. So let's go ahead and bring all the food out and let's find the blockage of what's happening. So I just went ahead and brought the refrigerator out from against the wall here. This also gives you a chance to clean and dust, which you probably have not done in years, and that is nasty. I actually found a bag of coffee that fell behind there, which dated back to 2013. That's an 8-year-old bag of coffee. Also dust off any cobwebs and dust. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at the back as well. So in the back of the refrigerator, I'm feeling cool air, not cold air, but cool air coming out the back here. I did notice this spot right here, which definitely probably shouldn't be there. I don't know what's underneath there, but we're gonna scrape that off, see if that's some sort of drain hole, excess flow hole of some sort. Where it was in the back, there are a few drops, but no water protrusion at all, just kind of damp a little bit. All right, nothing underneath that, which kind of brings me to the category of it's super cold to touching right here. I think they're inside of the freezer. I think something is clogged. I might pull off this back panel here, look at it a little bit closely in the back as well, but I think the flowing system is clogged and needs to be chipped away, just probably over the years, finally got worse. All right, after pulling off the back case here, I do want to show you the tube here was actually stuck to that. That's what put a little bit of that frozen layer on the back. And I've actually chipped away at some ice here. There doesn't seem to be a leak. There is a joint right here, and it actually frosts over pretty quick. So this tube is pretty cold right here. And there was a lot of saturation of ice on this, and I chipped away with a plastic paint scraper here. I'm gonna go ahead and vacuum all this. This obviously is a little bit of insulation that is kind of pretty much worn and kind of destroyed a little bit here as well. We're gonna try to leave most of that in place, maybe try to somehow patch that up, if that will at least stick to that so it's not right on the back of the metal backing. So let's go ahead and clean this up and move on to the next step. So now we're in the freezer portion here, and we took out all the food and drawers like I did mention, and as you can see here, I've already started to scrape away at the back panel here. That's all frosted up, and you can get out your shop vac and go ahead and just vacuum that up. I'll probably just somehow do it without the household vacuum, obviously. But I'm gonna go ahead and just remove all this. See how thick that is? That is major time thick. So there's my complete down ventilation right there that is completely blocked. My upward ventilation up here is not blocked. I'm actually gonna have to put on a glove. That's kind of cold. So what we'll do here, scrape all that off, and we'll probably go ahead and remove these screws back here and up there at the top as well, removing this shelf there in just a second. We'll pull off that whole back panel because we need to go ahead and defrost all of that, chip away at all of that underneath there as well. So your vents, as you can see here, that is the problem, causing the blockage probably to go over to the refrigerator portion as well. All right, after removing the back panel, now first and foremost, the fan is working and the fan's not making any sort of noise or anything like that. But as you can see here behind the back panel now, The vents have defrosted, but look at this. This definitely shouldn't be like this. Most people do is they just throw away the refrigerator, they put it on the curb, and then people that like to DIY will get a free fridge out of it. Now, what I didn't show you is I actually removed the light cover and the light, and I actually popped the light fixture through this so I could remove that entire thing. I don't believe I will be removing this at all. The fan is up there. There doesn't seem to be any blockage up there, so I'm not gonna deal with that. It could be the other way around for you, but let's get to work on this. All right, so the easiest way you're gonna do it, be very careful if you're gonna use a heat gun. I would use a blow dryer just to protect, just in case you do not wanna get the side walls. You wanna go ahead and keep your distance, and we wanna melt all of the ice. This is a temporary fix if you can't figure out what the fix is. I'll get into the details of what is happening with this refrigerator and the fix later in the video. But remember, your drip pan is gonna fill up with water, potentially could fall out the front. So I have a towel down. I would also put a towel in the back because you will be dripping water. So with that said, you can scrape off the outer wall with the paint scraper or something like that. And this you're just gonna have to work on, because no matter if you scrape all that off, there's a lot of ice in the middle of these coils right there that we need to go ahead and liquefy and get all that off. So literally we're just gonna put this heat gun on here. See how it's so jammed up? Those should be beautifully silver, and it is all nice and white. Unfortunately, that's not good. So as you can see here, we're melting. It's gonna go in this little slot down here at the bottom, and it's gonna go into our overflow drip pan on the back side behind the lower back panel, which is easily, you can pull that off with some screwdrivers. It's just held on by some little nuts, just like this back cover was. Alrighty, my friends, this is what it's supposed to look like when it is working correctly behind the back wall. So let me go ahead and break this down to you here. I use the heat gun. Now, a couple different things to keep in mind. Watch the side wall. I don't hold it on an area too long. You could get a little bit of bubbling, which could harden up, as we see here. Not that big of a deal at all. Just be very, very careful. You don't want to get holes accidentally protruding through your walls. So what I would recommend, hair dryer or heat gun, but keep it like right around this area here, and it will also get the coils here. You live and you learn, but guess what? Not a problem at all. No protrusions, totally fine. It's gonna freeze up slowly. That's not gonna be an issue. So now what we're looking at here is a completely defrosted coil. And let me go ahead and talk you through this. I have already replaced the defrost control board, thinking it was that. Unfortunately, that was not it, but I will show you how to do that in this video if that is what you want. That majority of the time is going to fix your problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, because the air compressor is working, I believe it's going to be the defrost control board, and this is the model number of this one, so to speak. But typically a lot of the brands are going to be the exact same control board. Some brands will try to nickel and dime you an extra 15-20 bucks. So definitely make sure that you pull out your old one to make sure it looks like this one. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set that aside. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now the location of it here, let's go ahead and show you. You're going to open up the fresh food portion of the refrigerator, which is going to be the right hand side on most refrigerators. Okay, and first and foremost, I'm going to walk you through this process, but it's located right up top like this here. Now, first and foremost, you want to unplug the power to the refrigerator. And let's go ahead and show you what this looked like just a second ago. And this goes right up in here. It slips in. It slips in right over here like this. You're gonna have two knobs on here and here for the freezer and refrigerator. Pull those knobs off, they just slip right off. And then right here on the right hand side, this is a fake one, right here you're gonna have one long bolt. Once that bolt's off, then you're gonna pry this way and those knobs, and you're gonna slide it straight back like this. And this is what it's going to look like right here. Let's put that out of the way. That's actually a very small bolt, and this particular one, I'm sorry I don't have the number on there, but it is really tiny there. Here are your knobs. Again, those just slip right off of the area there. Just make sure you know which ones are which. Pretty easy to determine which one goes back straight in here and one slips right on this, right on top right there. Now your defrost control board is going to be located right in this box right here. So what you do is just put that little flap back, You can bring this whole thing out if you want. And as we open it up here, we just put the flap down there. There is your control board right there. The back of it here, it just slips right out, and we're connected there by one little clip. So this is going to be the dirty culprit. So what we're going to do here is we don't want to pull out the wires any further. So there's a little push tab right on the very back, right there where my thumb is. I'm pushing back on it, and with two hands, I'm gonna slide that out, pop the new one in. Now let's just briefly look at the old one here and the new one here. So a lot of these control boards go to the exact same refrigerators, but again, it depends on your model number. They'll try to nickel and dime you. I ordered my new one off of eBay, including tax and shipping, was like $21, but for the precise Maytag one, another seller was trying to double the price. As long as it is the same. Let's go ahead and take a look at it here. It's the exact same. The capacitors are different colors, but you have the exact same capacitors and pattern. You definitely want to look at it and compare it with your prongs, inserts, but again, most parts are compatible with other models. I was able to save a great amount of money, at least half price. I believe this was for a Whirlpool one, but it's the same thing as a Maytag. So with the new one, we're gonna go ahead and clip this one in. All right, use two hands to clip it back in. And you do have your little notches to go ahead and let it just sit right up in there. Now we're gonna take our cover, latch that back in, check your connection. You might want to just slightly press down on that, but we are good to go there. Now we're going to insert back in our cover. All right, so once your cover is in place, you're going to put your one bolt back in right there, tighten it up really nicely. Now your knobs are pretty much going to go on exactly how you had them before. So let me show you. Let me pull that one off. That's for the refrigerator one. It looks like that, and that's gonna slip in the way it was. And this freezer one is gonna look like a hole, and that's gonna slip in just like that there. So once that's tightened, those knobs are back on. Your lights are right up here if you need to change your lights. Your water filtration is over here if you need to do that. Now lastly, before we do plug it in, and I might have to go back to my old footage because I actually cleaned all that ice. That is what's preventing it. That is not defrosting. All that is ice that has been built back up again. So that is not defrosting, causing the filtration not to come into the freezer and over into the refrigerator portion. You might have to, I'm gonna be back with you on this one here, we might have to scrape that off. Once that does start defrosting, I don't know where that water's gonna go just personally. We're gonna keep an eye on it and let you know. So next thing we're gonna do is plug it back in. And the compressor is going right off the bat. So we'll be back with you and let you know if we're leaking any water and the defrosting and how that's going. Well, making a long story short, we actually called out a specialist because it was just a little bit above my pay grade, meaning that he needed to test wires because there are some other components in here. And everything tested perfect except for the heater behind the coils. There is a heater behind the coils. It's going to be behind this area here, and the heater is bad. It is on order. So if you're waiting for your parts and you need a working fridge, do what I just did, defrost it completely like this. This should last you about a week, and that's how long we need for the part to come in. So we're gonna go ahead and button this back up, prepare our shelving like normal. We've already mopped up all the water. I'm gonna go ahead and mop up a few more drops here before we button down the hatch completely, and we'll be back with you for a complete fix. All right, the heater has come, and this is what it looks like here. It has a little clip and just a very simple little ring around the rod there, and that goes right underneath here, as you can see right there. Once this is in, it's going to fix it. In our circumstance, once again, it was our heater. Even the repairman said this is very uncommon, but common on this model refrigerator. Typically, it is not this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you did not pick up that model number, if you have one similar to that, that's going to be your model number. This is a Whirlpool factory heater. Again, very small. This one is the old one here. It's just coiled up in the back. Now, this fixed our issue. We are super pumped on it. it. It's located right behind those back coils again. As now, as you can see, for the last week and a half here, look at my vents, not blocked. Everything is looking primo. Ice is being created in the ice maker. Fridge is nice and chilly as it should be. And what we did is we actually monitored it here, and down here below, it's 35 degrees right now, 49% humidity, 52% because I got the door open there. So if you have a little thermometer here, this one is actually able to go pretty low. So we were able to monitor it there. And so what happened is the heater in the back of the coils, it's a very small heater, but it was not working properly, which prevented the defrosting of the coils, which then blocked it up, which then prevented the cold air from entering in the refrigerator side. And so I didn't need to replace the defrost control board. Sure, I wasted $20, but it is what it is. I thought it was that. The repairman was even very surprised. He said in the last 3 years, he has not seen a broken heater coil part, except for the more research he did, it was this model Maytag. And this is the precise model right here, the MZD2665HES. Unfortunately, that is a known issue. Well, we fixed it. He fixed it. I appreciate you guys watching. Hit that thumbs up button if it has helped you diagnose your issue and if you want to tackle it yourself. To get to the heater, you just pull out those coils. He struggled with it for a little bit of time. Unfortunately, I didn't want to have a camera right over his shoulder. But those coils do pull out, and then you put the heater in behind it and put the coils back in. Just be careful when you do remove those coils. Get to that heater. Subscribe on your way out, and I will try my best to link those parts in the description box below if I can find them. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye. Don't let the party stop, guys. Hit one of these videos, continue to watch, and we'll see you soon.